Good morning, you guys. How y'all doing? Good morning, good morning. Got my cup of coffee in hand. Just spent some time reading after my workout this morning and checking in with my girls. I wanted to come in here and kind of chit chat with you guys about my devotional today. Is that all right? Is that good? And relaying it to our fitness journey. And it's, one of those things that I can't help but do being in fitness, and also, but it was the first question. It was the beginning of how I invited God into my fitness and my nutrition. And I think, sometimes we don't want to do that, or we don't even think to do it, right? But when I was, I had this lifelong struggle with not only knowing, first of all, I didn't even know that I didn't know how to eat healthy, right? But even once I did, I was kind of still on this struggle bus where I was kind of like, okay, I know I'm supposed to work out, I know I'm supposed to eat healthy, but I don't want to. And even whenever I would make myself, it was like a half-hearted effort. And whenever I could eat healthy, but I still struggle with emotional eating. And I was just like, okay, Lord, like, what gives? What gives, And I remember, I don't even remember how it came across to me, if somebody recommended it or if I just, found it on Kindle or whatever. I started reading this book. I picked up this book called Made to Crave by Lisa Turkhurst. And if you've never read it, I really recommend that you do. If you're someone who recognizes that you also have tendencies to eat out of your emotions, stress eating, for me, it was, anytime that I felt just life was out of control. Every time there was, I got in an argument with my husband, or, things weren't going well in a relationship with, someone else in my family, or, I was just in a stressful situation, had a long day at work, I would just come home and, find the junk food in the pantry and, just scarf it down. Or I would, load up, my own nacho plate or something and just, binge Grey's Anatomy, just go numb. And that was my way of dealing with stress. And it didn't do anything for me trying to get healthy and fit, right? And I wondered why I just kept on yo-yoing back and forth. And I felt like, I must be missing something. I must be missing something, right? And so anyway, I'm back, I'm driving along, and I had decided to get this book, Made to Crave, on Audible so that I could listen, because, I don't know about you. You tell me, how much time do you have to actually sit down and read in a day? And sometimes you're driving and you can listen to music and you can listen to talk. I hate listening to talk radio while I'm driving, by the way, but my husband loves it. But I can listen to a book. I can listen to a podcast for some reason. It's just different. And I recognized, especially at that time in my life, I was always in the car because I'm a mom, and I was driving my kids around. This, of course, pre-quarantine days, right? Pre-2020 is what we should say, because everything changed after 2020. But I would drive around my kids, especially last year, when one was in high school, one was in middle school, one was elementary. And they're all three involved in either band or music or theater, or all of the above. And we were just going everywhere. And I just recognized, hey, you're literally driving in the car a minimum of 2.5 hours a day, because that didn't even count the time it was taking me to drive to get to the gym to teach my classes and then come back, right? And I just thought, I need to make use of that time. So I decided to pop in this Audible book, and I started listening. And at this point in time of my fit journey, I was just asking God this question. I was just like, I know I'm missing something. I know there's something that's holding me back. There's something that just keeps getting in the way. There's an obstacle there. I keep feeling like I'm hitting a wall. Help me see it, right? And I'm listening to I think it was chapter 1. I honestly think it was chapter 1. After the little introduction, I'm listening to chapter 1, and she starts talking about her own experience, and she mentions this statement. She says this prayer, and she was just like, Lord, like, it's this question, it's this request of God to just like unsettle her. And I so recognized that myself with that. I was like, yeah, that's it. Like, I've gotten comfortable in my unhealthy eating habit. I've gotten comfortable in a lifestyle of not working out. I've gotten comfortable in my routines and my attitudes towards food. And, I built this life of just kind of not even really being able to recognize how and why I was self-sabotaging over and over and over. And I knew, like, at that point, I was like, I know what to do, so it's not a knowledge issue. I sometimes can like make myself do it, and I recognize that I need to get up early or whatever. It's not really a time issue. So it must be a heart issue. Like, and I've made a decision I want to do something about it, right? So it's not a will issue, but it is a heart issue. Something here, and like maybe I'm on autopilot somewhere, and I'm just recognizing it, And I mean, have you ever been there? Whether it's health and fitness and, you're eating and you're working out, or it's something else where you're just kind of like, why do I keep feeling like I'm running against this brick wall? Why do I keep feeling like I'm in this cycle that I don't want to be in? And every time I find myself to this point, it's like, why am I here again? And knowing the struggle to get back out of it and into where you want to be, right? And I just remember hearing her say that statement of "Unsettle me, Lord," and just like crying while I'm driving, because I recognized like that was me. Well, fast forward a little bit, and rewind a little bit. This is relatable. So in another section of my life, a whole other area of my life, I was trying to deal with, I've already disclosed on here to many of you that I was abused in the past. And I come to this place years before, the moment of me with the Audible book in the car, years before, probably a good 6-8 years. I remember being in the car on a road trip with a friend. And we're coming back from a retreat, I think. And she and I are in this discussion, and I'm talking about this trauma that I had experienced in my past. And I was just like, I feel like it's always there, right? It's like it's there. It's always in the back of my mind, how I parent, how I wife, how I take care of the household, how I feel about myself, how I feel about my body, how I feel about my habits, how I feel about, how God sees me, and all of this. It's like, but I'm like, I don't know how to pinpoint it, like what the actual thought is. Does that make sense? It's like, I know it's tied up in there, and I know it's in the back of my mind always, but if you were to ask me, I remember, how do you see yourself? At that point, I really couldn't articulate it into words. I would look in the mirror, and I would just be like, what are you about, right? How does God see me? How do I see me? And is it as, someone with worth and value? And I remember just being, her asking me questions that really kind of helped me bring those things to light. And I started to recognize. And there's something powerful about that moment when you are able to recognize the thing that's been holding you back, right? Because then once you know what it is, it's different than the knowledge of knowing what to do. When you see it, you can't unsee it, right? So was reading, I just started this new devotional, 2020. It's my second or third time around with this devotional actually, but I was rereading the introduction, and she's telling this story, and I'm going to tell it from my perspective. But whenever you go to the eye doctor, that's why I put my glasses on this morning. When you go to the eye doctor, right? So not everybody knows that I wear glasses, because most of the time y'all see me like this, and this is how I teach my classes. And when I'm moving around my house, I don't always wear my glasses. How about you? Like, are you someone who wears glasses? And are you like blessed with 20/20 vision all your life? Or do you just like wear them for reading or just for driving or whatever? Well, I have to wear them for driving, and I prefer to wear them whenever I'm out and about. Now, I don't like to eat while I'm wearing them, but when I'm going to a grocery store, right? I'm walking in the stores, and if I don't have the glasses on, then the things on the shelves and like the signs hanging, they're blurry. There's blurred edges. I don't recognize people's faces like from a distance, right? Not until they're like right, within maybe more like 6 to 12 feet of me, but not further out, right? And that bugs me big time. I kind of like to know, my surroundings, and being able to kind of glance up and see the sign in the grocery store and be like, oh yeah, that's the aisle I need to go to, or peek down and kind of see, you can see the box. Is this the aisle with the pasta sauce or no? Like, right? And so when I'm teaching my classes, I can't wear them. And in fact, just last night, I was teaching a virtual MMA style class, and there's lots of combinations to it, and it was probably only the second or third time I had taught it, so I kept wanting to glance at my notes and make sure that I was doing the right next combination. And since I don't wear my glasses, I would have to get really close to my notes and then back up and then start again. And I would just remember thinking, wow, like I really should start writing my notes like really bigger when I'm teaching virtually, because it's not, that way I wouldn't have to get so close in order to see it all. And I could be a more effective instructor throughout the class, seamless, right? And I could stay at the back if I wanted to for full body view before moving forward. And I just started thinking this morning as I was reading through the story, when we go into the eye doctor and they first do the Optimap stuff with the machines and everything, and then you go into the exam room and you sit in the chair and they pull the doctor comes in and he puts that little machine over your eyes, and he's testing he's looking for little tiny changes in how we see compared to how our vision was a year ago, right? And every year they repeat this exam. And I'm one of those people, I have something called astigmatism, and so it's common for me every one to 2 years. Sometimes I go longer without getting my checkup. But whenever I go, there's usually just some small change, just something small. But I'll always remember my very first eye exam. I was a freshman in high school when I first started wearing glasses. And I remember going in, doing the exam, and thinking, okay, like, I've been going to school, not thinking that I had any problems with my eyes. I don't know if I just never noticed because I always had a desk pretty close to the front or what, but I remember what prompted it was, I think what prompted it was whenever I started thinking about, I'm going to be driving soon, and I started paying attention to the signs on the side of the road, and I was like, I can't read that one very clearly, and told my mom, and my mom was like, you can't? Well, we need to get your eyes checked, right? So I knew it was important and to get it right. I knew it was important to get it right because this was going to affect how I could see everything from here on out. And I remember getting my prescription, putting the glasses on for the first time, driving riding along in the car. My dad is driving. I'm looking out the window, and we're going to the apartment that we lived in at that time. We were waiting for our next home. I think we were waiting for it to close. But anyway, we're driving in the car, and I'm looking up, and I suddenly realized that I can see the leaves on the trees. That was a detail that I missed. And so now as an adult, well, then as a kid, even as a 15-year-old kid, I was just like, whoa. Like, it changed my perspective. It changed how I went about for the rest. Now, I was able to notice more details about my surrounding, and I was picking up on it. Same thing now, why I continue to wear them when I go to the grocery store, when I am driving, and even whenever I'm reading, especially if I want to see without having to read a little bit more like this. When I go to the movies, I want to be able to see clearly, right? So I can pick up on all the little details of the storyline that might make a difference in how I feel about the end result, right? And as the movie's going along. Because you ever been watching a show and you're like, I don't get it. Like, what? And you start to get impatient with it and you just want to leave and you don't even care how it ends. So, but if you because you missed a small detail because you got up and went to the restroom or something, and you come back and you're like, I don't understand, why is that significant? It's because you missed a significant moment. And I feel like that's what glasses do for us. Well, in the same sense, and here's where all of it comes together. In the same sense, when I asked that question, when Lisa Turkhurst spoke that question for me to ask God, to say, Lord, what am I missing? What am I missing that is going to help me stop, self-sabotaging, binge eating, starting off really good and then stopping and then going through long periods of time before I pick it up again and start having a good solid workout routine, start, looking at food differently and staying on track with how I know I feel best whenever I eat. So it's not a chore. I'm tired of it being something that is a hard struggle. So God, help me take the struggle out. And I think it's so amazing how in this book, in this introduction, as I'm reading this story from Christine, and she's talking about her eye exam moment, she relays that over into this other part of life where she says, what a difference would it make can you imagine getting into your bed at night and knowing that you saw all that God wanted you to see, and when He wanted you to see it, and how He wanted you to see it? What a difference it would make. So I started thinking back, that's what He did for me. People ask me, how are you so diligent? How are you so committed? How are you so consistent? How is it, and they think I don't have bad days. I have bad days. I have periods of time. I have whole weeks of time sometimes that I don't feel like it sometimes because other things are going on. But here's the difference between the angel now and the angel that I used to be, right? The angel that I am now understands, because I asked the question and I invited God into my fitness journey, and I invited Him into my eating habits, and I invited Him into my food decisions. And I said, Lord, unsettle me, show me, reveal, sharpen my focus, show me, reveal to me. Because once I see it, I know that I won't unsee it. And so what difference does it make, right? So once I did that and I allowed Him to start showing me things, I started to recognize the moments in life that triggered me to eat a certain way. And then what happens whenever you recognize something? When you recognize a trigger, when you recognize a pattern, and hey, every time this happens, I go over, I feel this way, I think this, and then I make this decision, and then next thing, and I know once I get there, I'm there for 2 weeks, right? Well, but if you can see it coming, if it can no longer be something, just a blurry blob like those leaves were on the trees for me all my life up until those glasses were put on. If I could actually see the detail, then I won't miss the moment and my opportunity to stop, reflect in the moment and be like, hey, wait a minute. I get this. I see it. And I don't want to make that choice. it's like it creates a gap. It creates an opportunity to where there's no longer the question of what is it that I'm missing? What is it that's stopping me? What is that feeling that I'm hitting a brick wall without being able to actually see the wall? Now, you not only see the wall, you see it coming. And you can stop and change what's going to happen next. Not only that, imagine that you were to say, okay, Lord, how do you see this vessel that you've created? What's the purpose for it? Doesn't that bring clarity and a little bit more energy and drive if I know how he sees me versus how I've been looking at myself? Because for years, if I've been beating myself up for years, if I've been critiquing and, or even apathetic, I don't really care. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter, right? Like, whatever. How do I treat me when I feel that way? Versus whenever I say, okay, Lord, how do you see me? Well, and he looks at us. It was one of the things that she pointed out in, I think it was Psalm 33, Psalm 32, where he said, Psalm 32 and 33, where he says, I'm always looking. I've got my eye on you. I'm here to guide you. I'm diligently looking on the inhabitants of the earth. So he's looking. He's taking notice. So if you feel like you're missing something, why not ask him to help sharpen your vision? So anyway, that's it. I love you guys. Y'all have a wonderful morning. And if you want to continue the discussion, just message me and let's chat. All right?